You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 844-RADIO-US, 844-723-4687. It's been said that if you want to be the smartest guy in the room, you got to be the smartest guy in the room. Arguably, Bill de Blasio considers himself to be the smartest guy in the room. I'm not exactly sure who is running Detroit these days. Maybe I should unleash the incredible power of Google and find out. Mayor of Detroit. Mayor of Detroit. Let's see. Mike Dugan. Mike Dugan. I wonder who Mike Dugan is. I bet you he's a Republican. Bet you think. What do you think? I bet you he's a good Republican. That's what I'm thinking. Mike Dugan. He is. Let's see. It doesn't say who he is. Let's go all the way down to here. Oh, boy, sometimes these people. Mike Dugan. Oh, doggone it. Can you believe it? He's a Democrat. I don't know whether he believes that he's the smartest guy in the room, but I know Bill de Blasio does. They're not looking like the smartest guys in the room these days. You know why? Thousands of people in New York City and Detroit don't have any electricity today. In the Big Apple, 21,500 Con Edison customers have no electricity. They're expecting lights and air conditioning to go live by this afternoon. Right in the middle of a gigantic heat wave. Suddenly, the people in New York and Detroit, they got no power. 14,000 of these people reside in Brooklyn, including the neighborhoods of Canarsie, Flatlands, Mill Basin, Old Mill Basin, Bergen Beach, Georgetown, and parts of East Flatbush. An additional 7,500 customers are not receiving services scattered throughout the city and Westchester County. The electricity went out just before dark as the result of high usage in the continuing heat, according to Con Ed. What? The electricity went out late Sunday afternoon, just before dark, as a result of high usage. High usage? Temperatures soared to 100 degrees over the weekend in the Big Apple, although Monday's rain is expected to cool the area and drop temperatures to the low 80s. So the outage was because of high usage? In southeast Michigan, Detroit, 250,000 customers, including residents in the Detroit metro area, started their day without power. This according to a Monday morning update from DTE Energy. By noon today, the number had dropped all the way to 230,000 people without electricity. A large storm knocked out power lines Sunday, initially left 600,000 customers without access to electricity. We expect 90% of all customers to be restored by the end of the day tomorrow, and the remainder by the end of the day Wednesday. The weekend severe thunderstorms have given way to sunshine in lower Michigan, where temperatures are expected to reach a pleasant high of 78. So, because of the fact that a large storm knocked out power lines, I'm going to give Detroit a pass. But I'm not going to give Con Ed a pass. Why? Because Con Edison, who supplies electricity to New York, ran out of electricity to supply to New York. Why is it? Is it because those darn people using electricity and paying through the nose for it, use too much? Is that it? No. No. You only have a problem when high usage is a problem, when you don't provide for enough electricity for the customers. You see, electricity is not it's not a commodity, it's a service. The only reason you run out is because you don't generate enough. Why don't you generate enough? Well, because generating electricity is expensive. You see, if you can blame a power outage on the people using electricity, as opposed to blaming a power outage on the people generating electricity, well, then what you can do is you can avoid what is that called? Oh, yeah, accountability. See, what ended up happening is that Con Edison just did not arrange for enough power generation. And they made a calculated decision that it was far better for some people in New York to go without electricity during one of the hottest periods of the summer so far than it would have been to spend the money to either import electricity from other areas or to fire up another generator or two or three in order to give people enough electricity. Okay, John David, but that's the people that are generating electricity. That's Con Edison. So why are you blaming Bill de Blasio? I'll tell you why. Because Bill de Blasio is one of those guys that is absolutely dead positively sure that human activity is causing climate change. Yeah. Yep. Human activity is causing climate change. It's just too hot. That's why people use too much electricity. That's why we're out of electricity, because it's too hot. See how hot it is? Look at those people without electricity sweating over there. Excuse me, Mayor, are you dealing without electricity? Oh, no. No, I have to think. Right. You have to think. Yes, I get that. Yes. You're too important to go without electricity and air conditioning. But you can point to those poor people that are sweating like crazy people and say, see what's happening? Global climate change. Man-made global climate change. The fact that you are generating too much carbon dioxide is why our people in New York don't have enough electricity. No, that's not the case at all. The reason you don't have electricity is because Con Edison is incompetent. And that's all there is. There's no other way to explain it. What do you mean the customers use too much electricity? They only use too much electricity because you didn't generate enough. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know that the only time that you ever have a power outage is when the people that are responsible for providing power, and I'm talking about beyond, say, for example, a storm like befell Detroit or what have you. I'll get to that in a minute. But what ends up happening is that when you say that it's going to be 100 degrees, 105 degrees, what you do is you say you've got to use less electricity. Turn your thermostat up. Is it because you don't want to use more than your share? Or is it because if you turn your thermostat up, then the estimators who are trying to figure out how much electricity they need to generate for any given day won't be accurate, and they may miss on the low end. And if they miss on the low end, well, then you have brownouts, rolling blackouts. That's the way we do it, because you're using too much electricity. No, because you don't want to dip into your profit margin enough to arrange for more generation of electricity. Well, gosh, if we have to generate more electricity, then what we have to do is we have to fire up one of those coal-fired power plants. Yeah, that's right. You have to fire up a coal-fired power plant. You know, the ones that spent millions in the 70s doing away with any pollution, and then only to get to the point where after they danced to this liberal tune of getting rid of all pollution having to do with coal, just in time for President Obama to show up and say, well, what you did wasn't enough. Oh, so let me see if I got this straight. Politicians gave us a remedy for, it was acid rain at that time. They gave us a remedy for acid rain that didn't work. They forced it down our throats. We spent billions of dollars. It didn't work, and now they're saying we can't fire up a coal-fired power plant because, well, it'll put too much CO2 in the air, which is the only thing you really can't do anything about. So all of this ridiculous narrative just keeps rolling on along. That's why it's called a self-licking ice cream cone. You get it started, it never stops. So Bill de Blasio says, see, climate change. No, it's not climate change. It's incompetence on the part of Con Edison. But it's incompetence you can use. You can distract from the fact that Con Edison can't generate enough electricity for its customers, and you can say it's because of global climate change, which means you're driving your car too much, you're making too much carbon dioxide, your carbon footprint's too big, you've got to... No, that's not the case. Now let's talk a little bit about Detroit. Why are they sitting in the dark? Well, because they had a storm. How many decades have we had storms? Well, you see, the storms are so bad because of global climate change. Oh, I see. Yeah, the storms are much more powerful than they used to be. Really? Maybe it's just that you don't know how to build electrical generation that can withstand a storm. Why is that? Why can't you generate electricity in a way that actually isn't affected by weather? It is 2018. It's 2019. We've had electricity for well over a century. You'd think they'd figure it out. You see, if you're able to somehow make people believe that the customers are using too much, then what you end up with is well, we've all got to share the burden of hot weather. It doesn't make any difference how much electricity you need. We need to make less because it's too expensive to make more. Not for you, but for the utility. It's cheaper. So you have to not be as comfortable as you'd like, so you don't use more than your share of electricity. That's called socialism. It doesn't work. It's a mistake. It's foolish. It's stupid. It blames people for shortfalls in thinking of other people. And the absolute evil of it all, this is being reported by CNN. They don't report the fact that Con Edison didn't generate enough electricity for these days, which is why the electricity went out. They report that it was too much usage. That's dishonest. Nobody knows any better because they don't honestly report this to begin with. Who reports it honestly to begin with? Well, your humble reporter right here. Isn't it interesting that we just seem to have problems with all kinds of public utilities when it comes to cities and towns run by liberal people? Isn't it weird? It's not a priority. It's not a priority to make sure that nobody in New York goes without electricity. I mean, they do their best, but it's not a priority because, gosh, the prevailing think is, hey, if we go without electricity, then all of us will suffer a little bit because of global climate change. And it'll prove the political point. The manipulation of anything necessary for the political effect. And that is exactly what's going on in New York. Okay, so Detroit gets a pass because maybe they're in a situation where they actually had a mechanical failure. Well, what I'm trying to figure out is just exactly why is it that they had a mechanical failure in 2019 when we've been generating electricity since the 1900s? What's the story there? Is this going to get better or is this going to get worse in the giant new socialist enterprise? You know what I think? I think it's going to get worse. I think we'll all share the misery, as Newt Gingrich is able to say with great accuracy. We'll all share the misery together until the entire gigantic behemoth government runs out of excuses, runs out of ways to blame the people. By the way, Bill de Blasio wants an investigation into just exactly why there's a power outage here. He wants an investigation. Because like all good socialists, it's not a failure of government or a failure of the system. It's always sabotage. By the way, did I tell you about the new Baltimore deputy police commissioner who was robbed at gunpoint? Yeah.
Hi, this is Wayne Allen Root, the capitalist evangelist. I'm here to introduce you to a special company with the potential to be one of the great all-American stories. Fortum Resources is a publicly traded, diversified natural resource company with oil, gas, and mining properties in North America and internationally. Fortum is led by Chairman Mark Bruner, the legendary oil man who built Ultra Petroleum from a 15-cent stock to $200 per share, creating $15 billion in shareholder profits. Mark has 30 years of experience in the oil and gas industry, overseeing contracts with Halliburton, ExxonMobil, and Hess. Fortum has over 350,000 acres of oil and gas resources, and more than half the acreage has been evaluated by world-renowned auditors Deloitte Touche. Fortum also owns the rights to the 180-square-mile City of Gold mining property. Fortum is traded on 2 global exchanges, U.S. ticker symbol FTMR. Repeat, FTMR. This is a rare ground floor opportunity to capitalize on a proven energy industry legend. Please visit FortumResources.com. That's Fortum, F-O-R-T-E-M, resources.com.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and 3-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-985-1813 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you a copy of The #1 Mistakes Retirees Are Making with Their Investments Today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-985-1813 now. Again, that's 800-985-1813. Employees of J.D. Melberg Financial have the appropriate licenses for the products they offer.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? Hi, I'm Jen London with The Place for Mom. Nobody knows your parent or loved one better than you, and nobody knows senior living better than the experts at A Place for Mom. They've helped thousands of families find the right place for their mom or dad.
I was so glad that I called A Place for Mom. My advisor really listened and was truly my partner in finding senior care for my dad. She went out of her way to get to know him as a person and was always there whenever I had a question.
The senior living advisors at A Place for Mom partner with thousands of families every month, listening and offering local knowledge and advice to help find the best senior living communities across the country. And it's a free service. Here's the number.
Call A Place for Mom at 1-800-370-2715.
There's a place for answers, a place for mom. Call today.
Call A Place for Mom at 1-800-370-2715. That's 1-800-370-2715.
You are listening to the Wells Reports. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 844-RADIO-US, 844-732-4687. What do you say we spend a little bit of time talking with Mr. Arthur Thompson? Mr. Thompson, welcome to the Wells Report. Good to have you here.
Well, good to be here, JD.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Thompson?
Nothing.
So you're in radio. So you're a radio talk show host. I see it now.
Yeah. No, I work for nothing. So
you work for nothing?
That's correct.
You are the CEO of what?
The John Birch Society, but I do it for free.
Well, tell us a little bit about your organization.
Well, first of all, we're the largest anti-communist organization in the world, and we are an organization that sets out to protect the independence of the American people and the Constitution of the United States. That's our primary mission. How we do that is to educate people as to the dangers to both of those things. And the USMCA, the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, is one of those problems that we're butting our heads against right now.
You must have been burning down. You must have been burning down over NAFTA. I mean, NAFTA was just an absolute giveaway. What do you see? I mean, what do you see that's wrong with the USMCA?
Well, it's NAFTA plus the Trans-Pacific Partnership plus more, according to the head of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haass.
Uh-huh.
It's probably the worst negotiation we've ever had. It tells me that Trump has probably not actually read the whole thing. I mean, the original form was 2,300 pages. I don't think he sat down and read it and took the word of Robert Lighthizer as to what's in there, because it completely violates his stated purpose of America First.
What are some of the,
what this does?
Yeah, tell me a little bit. What's wrong with it, quickly?
Well, briefly, it's going to destroy the independence of the American people. It will alter the Constitution of the United States without the amendment process. The leader of Mexico, on the day it was signed, while Trump was talking about trade, he was talking about integration. Now, integration is a big difference between free trade and what he's talking about. All the presidents of Mexico, the last four ones, have talked about integrating the United States with Mexico. That's not what we want. Trade, that's one thing. But to set up a free trade commission that completely controls the economy of the United States and that sort of thing, it takes it completely out of the hands of Congress. Listen, the Constitution of the United States mandates that Congress regulate trade with foreign nations. The USMCA places it in an international commission called the Free Trade Commission. The Congress will have nothing to say from this day forward, once they ratify that, about any trade between the United States and Mexico. But it's even worse than that, because it's talking about the submission of the United States to the United Nations, and it specifies a number of things that we will adhere to, such as the Lost Treaty, which is something that the Senate has never agreed to because it's so onerous. It places all of our waterways in the hands of the United Nations, the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Mississippi, the Columbia, the Hudson, you name it. And so it's a real problem. Now, this Free Trade Commission, by the way, can alter this agreement at any time without ever going back to Congress. And so what we're doing is setting up a European style, a European Union style, an agreement. In fact, these men from Mexico have stated they want a EU type of arrangement with the United States, and that's what they look at when they see the USMCA. That's what they want.
By the way, we're speaking with Art Thompson. He's the CEO of the John Birch Society. Art, didn't they try this a while back, and didn't it fail?
That's correct. It failed because the John Birch Society put massive amounts of work into trying to stop it, which we were able to do temporarily. But the thing is, this time what's making a difference is that it's under the name of Trump.
I see.
And so everybody thinks it's okay, but Trump didn't sit down and read 2,300 pages of this agreement.
Art, tell me about how people tell me about how people can find out more about what you're talking about here.
Just go to John Birch Society, jbs.org, and click into our page on the USMCA, and they'll find out all the information they need to know.
And what is that website again?
JBS, John Birch Society, jbs.org.
Okay, Juliet Bravo Sierra.org, and that's how you can find out more. Art, thanks very much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
I look forward to hearing some more, and thanks very much for taking the time today. And by the way, get yourself a salary, because working for nothing, well, you know that seems a little communist, buddy. I'm just saying. I should negotiate for you. See you later, buddy.
Yeah,
thanks.
All right.
It is a horrible scenario, but it happens. Dennis writes about his wife. She was diagnosed with leukemia. In fact, she's a 2-time survivor, and in the midst of all that, They ran up over $1 million in medical bills. Thankfully, they're Medi-Share members. And Dennis says they are so thankful for that, how others came together to meet their needs. And that's how so many Medi-Share members feel. This is not health insurance. It's different. You don't have to pay for things you don't believe in. And like Dennis found out, it just works. So if you join Medi-Share, not only do you save a lot of money, the typical family saves about $500 a month, but you know where your money's going each month. You're helping people, and if the time should come, they'll be helping and even praying for you. So yes, it's different, and as more than 400,000 people now know when it comes to healthcare costs, different is beautiful. Find out more. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.